Hey everybody, Leanne and Julie from Spiritual Seeds here.
Hi.
We're going to talk a little bit about monthly plotting. It's a little easier said than done. So let's see how Julie does it. She's a pro.
All right.
So Julie, what did you pick for your fruit this month? January, kicking off 2021.
That's right. So for my fruit, I chose the fruit of self-control. And I know that sometimes this is a traditional starting off with your New Year's resolutions, but for me, it was much more about committing myself to the guardrails that would help me for the rest of the year as far as my time, energy, and focus on God.
Nice. Wow. And at the top of the page, there's a spot for a prayer. Is that something that you do regularly?
I do. I like having something that I can look back to each week as I'm writing my actions for the week. So my prayer for the month is, Lord, I yield my life to your plan. Give me God control to say no to anything that isn't aligned with you. So kind of just trying to give myself some reminders. I definitely looked at my fruit vision and had that kind of line up with that.
Nice. Sometimes people get a little stressed out about writing or saying a prayer, but the truth is, this is between you and God. Just tell him what you're feeling and ask for his help. And it's as simple as that, right? Yeah. So then we get into four plots. That would be friends and family, community, self, and vocation. And then we look at each one and we kind of analyze our fruit. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. Take a look at where you think it is and where you have the opportunities, because that's really where you're going to be planting, cultivating, and growing the fruit. And so, under each of those, just kind of writing some notes about where you think you are today and what you want is to improve on this month.
Nice. So really there's no rules or regulations for this part. Kind of let it get personal and express yourself, whether it's what's going on or ideas of what you would like it to look at. It's kind of a combination, but just a space for reflection.
Right.
Nice. So it's interesting, but some of these fruits can be very different from one plot to another. So self-control in friends and family, what does that look like for you?
For me, it is a little bit tricky because self seems like that's self. It's not maybe outward. But I put one of my things is how do I turn envy into inspiration? So sometimes you see someone and you're like, I wish I had this and that. Look at that, they've got it all figured out. And instead, to see that as inspiration, that person is inspiration, and maybe you really even talk to them about something that they're doing that really inspires you, and so see it as a positive, and turn that negative, the envy, into something positive.
Wow, that's pretty impressive because it doesn't sound a lot like your traditional idea of self-control, which is
Mhm.
basically eliminating or going without something, right?
Right, right.
So much more. Yeah. And does the Holy Spirit kind of lead you in this activity?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, prayer is an important piece of this process, and so praying and aligning with the Holy Spirit in all my interactions with the planner is important.
Hmm. And so we have community here, self-control in the community. That kind of seems odd. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, for me, you do kind of have to think these through and think, wait, how can I connect with my community in regards to self control, and especially during COVID, and if you're not spending a lot of time out in the community. But I looked at it as how can I this for me self control would be how do I use my energy to inspire others, and honestly through spiritual seeds, through a small group that we have going for spiritual seeds through our social channels, just trying to use the planner as an inspiration to others and also model good behavior. And so I got to walk the talk. And so to me, that was a community focus.
Yeah, interesting. That's a great application. Now, self, I can get the self-control out of the self part. So anything new that you discovered there?
Well, definitely, I've got some of the traditional things like fasting and things that are trying to improve on some personal behaviors. But one of the big ones for me this month is becoming best friends with God. So, how do I make sure that that is my number one focus throughout? throughout every day, but definitely setting myself up this month.
Nice, nice. Invocation, work, self-control, that one I can relate to. How about you?
Yeah, I think in this case it's using self-control to set some boundaries for work and to say, hey, yeah, I know that I'm more productive at work if I'm giving it all of my attention instead of trying to multitask. So really planning out that time that, hey, this is my work time and this is my not work time, so that I can give the family 100%, God 100%, so that I'm not trying to multitask all day long.
Nice. So, Julie, looking at these four different plots, it seems like there's a lot of thought that goes into this. What kind of time do you spend on this portion?
Well, obviously, this is the monthly plot, so this is something that I'm doing at the beginning of each month to kick off what I'm planning to plant, cultivate, and grow for the month. But it's something I can also refer back to every time that I open my planner and say, "Wow, is there something I missed under family and friends? Is there something else that?" Because things happen every day that can affect the rest of the focus. And so I want to make sure that this is a fluid process. But I definitely look at it when I spend time every Sunday working on my planner, plotting out my next week. And so it's an important reflection tool.
Nice. So it's nice that it's always there to refer back to.
Totally. And I can't give up last year's planner, and so that I can look even what I was doing on each fruit last year. It's like, oh, this is an important um, tool for me.
Nice, nice. Well, thanks for sharing all that. Really
Mhm.
appreciate it. And that's some good guidance there. So next week we'll come back and talk about what we do with this reflection and how we put it into action, right?
That's right. We'll see you next week.
Great. See you all next week.
Bye.